Hi, this is Suzanne in Ohio. I have a journal flip for you today. And I guess I have to say right off the bat, I'm a nervous wreck. I've had this journal done for 2 weeks and just shredded this part of it because I didn't know how I was going to do it. This is the biggest and not biggest, you know, cover wise, but it's the thickest and the fullest journal I've ever done. And I wouldn't have maxed it out quite this much, but the person that is buying this wanted me to just load it up. So I can't get it closed, and it's going to be difficult to show it. So if my fumbly fiddly method drives you crazy, you can fast forward or come back to it in different increments and see what's going on. But I'll get right to it. The cover is done with this beautiful image, and I forget where I got that, but I will put it in the description box below later today after I figure out where it came from. The image is mounted on support cardstock, mulberry paper on the edge, and it forms a pocket. And then it's elaborately decorated around the edge with three-dimensional elements, as well as this little plaque with some real bird feathers here. So I'll take it out so you can get a good idea how that works. I just left it loose so I could slide the feathers in. And then there's a couple feathers in this decoration here. It's just a combination of uh, little doilies, snippets, pine cone, I don't know what you call them, pieces of pine cone, flowers and lace and fibers. It's all kind of very naturey looking. So the cover is stunningly beautiful. The colors are just magnificent. And this meadowlark image here makes it just absolutely wonderful. Now, I named this journal Treasures because this is a collection of things that you would treasure. I I first thought I would name it Summer Treasures, and then I thought no, because not every treasure is just indicative to summer, although a lot of them are. So it is treasures, things that you might have liked in your lifetime or collected, or things that you genuinely appreciate. So it's a varied theme inside. Each page is different, and they're just treasures, keepsakes. So this journal is a lifetime keepsake, and this person that's buying it appreciates every little detail of everything. So I spent a lot of time on this. I'll bet maybe 3 months making this journal because I just wanted it to be ultra special. Here on the front is some very old vintage tatted lace off of a very old textile that I had, and it really is nice. I sewed it right onto the wall or glued it, I forget, but more lace and things like that. It is about a 3-inch spine. I'll see if I can turn this over. And while I'm at it, I'll show you this little dangle. The charm is a camera and some beads and baubles and things. All treasures found in some old jewelry that I had. So the back, the antique lace goes over the back, and it's mounted on top of this beautiful, very vintage looking wallpaper. I constructed this book to last forever. It's a double, almost triple spine the way I put it together. And because of the weight of it, I wanted to make sure that no matter how many times it was leafed through, nothing would come loose. So here we are back to the front, and I'm going to see what happens when I open it up. And I apologize, it's just going to be fiddly because I've got to try to finagle this in a way that the camera can pick it up. And I'm going to back out just a little bit and see if that helps. Let me see. Give me a second here. I've only started this a couple times because I forgot to turn my phone off. So the first page is wallpaper cutout. It's tissue paper on the backing with old pieces of ephemera. And like I said, I'm trying to make this journal very special to this person because I've known her for years and she appreciates every little detail. So here's the first detail. Let's see if I can get you down here. This is a genuine copy of my mother's, one of her report cards from 1941 to 1942. And it forms a journal card. And then a very distressed piece of ephemera in that first pocket. Please forgive me. This thing is sliding around already, and I can tell this is going to be a chore. So when you first open this up, on this side, here's a little window compartment. It opens up, and there's a picture of a vintage child, which is me. And I only put that in there to have something in there. And she will probably switch it out to one of her childhood photographs. And lots of fibers. And then on this side, and here's my first problem, I'll do it this way. On the inside leaflet is beautiful little image, and I made a banner 3-dimensional so that it forms a tuck spot. And then you open that up also, and there's a genuine little linen embroidery piece here. And let's see, I'm pulling on the wrong thing here. And a journal card. On this side, I used images of an old embroidery pattern that I had, and then I had made some collage pages with the old embroidery stencils, iron-on stencils, and that formed another pocket, and then 2 very old pieces of ephemera. And one of these is personal also, because this is my mother's graduation diploma from grade school, 1940-ish something. And there's a pocket here with a piece of ephemera in it. And then let's fold this back up the correct way. This goes in here, and then this folds back in on itself. On this side, a little tuck spot, piece of ephemera. This is a bag that I got years ago from florist, and it has a slight waxy feel to it. That way, if you were putting wet flowers in it, or for some reason, it would sustain the moisture. And here's a little hand fan, and I talked about those in other videos, so I won't talk about that right this minute. And then when you open this up, it's one of these little collaged envelopes, some ephemera in here, a solid piece here for mounting, and a little self-made faux stamp as a tuck spot. And then this has a journal card in it. Just a collaged on one side, and I think this was, this was a plastic doily that I was using with some inks, and it didn't come out exactly like I wanted, but still very wonderful because you can write right on top of it. So there's a top loading pocket here that's where that tag was, and then another tag here, collaged, nature related, and then I'll just leave that other one out for now. When you turn this page over, here is this is a whole garden spread, both of these pages, And the first thing is on this side, a little notebook, some of that paper, and then a tuck spot here. And then behind the book is a hidden pocket with a matching tag. This is the same image of the delphiniums as it is right here. So this little tag matches, slips right in there. On this side, I made a version of a terracotta pot, and it's tied, it's loose, so it's three-dimensional, but it's tied shut with that little piece of fabric, a trowel and a digger, a seed packet, and then in the pot, see if I can get this at a better angle, in the pot are some garden-related images. A little booklet. These were pages of an actual antique garden catalog. And then some found papers in the middle. Another little booklet with roses on the surface and just found papers. Seed packet. These are all journaling cards. And then a distressed seed packet with a little writing spot on the back. And all those items fit right in the terracotta pot. So she loves her flowers and her gardening, and so that's the commemoration for that. When you turn this page over, I found some vintage images from an Etsy seller, and I'll list that somewhere below later today when I have time to remember where I got this. But this collage work was just beautiful, and it represented, I think, old romance, old letter writing, and so I used that image, and it is a pocket. So in the pocket is a pack of old letters, and what I did was distress some old vintage letters that I had. Some were my own, just a piece of vintage writing paper, and some of these things were from Etsy sellers, and I'll try to list everything below. But this is a special little letter. You might think it was a love letter, and this says, "A piece of my dress I wore to the picnic when we met, summer 1889," and with a little bead dangle right there. So that's just fits in there, and it kind of goes with that image. Writing space, a little another faux stamp right here that forms a little tuck spot, and just collage work of fabrics and snippets of all kinds. On this side, another pocket. These are journaling cards that I had made using fabric and lace snippets and index cards. Have a whole collection of those. I showed them on another video. Make a wonderful addition. Okay, here's a little notebook, and it's just got some treasures of things. And I put this little piece of paper in here just for her, even though it doesn't match, because we've been friends for, I think, going on 25 years, and 20 years at least. And I'm a hairdresser, and this is a page out of one of my old appointment books. And then this is a page from our other friend, Shirley, who has passed now, and we miss her terribly. And she was a school teacher, and this was out of one of her planning books. So that goes in there special for this person that's buying the journal. Well, another treasure from summer is Grandma's quilts hanging on the line. So I made this little facsimile of a yo-yo quilt, and then you could lift it up and write under there, and then you have all, you know, hidden writings. This little yo-yo quilt was so fun to make. Here's just a decorative pocket. It's got some wonderful things in it. I'll show you what's in there. This is a copy. I distressed it, but it was a poem written by my Aunt Bee, who has passed. And she was a prolific writer of poems and prose. And I left her name on it and everything. And this will be special to the person that is buying the journal because it's called Flowers and Birds. So it goes along with that theme. Here's another little collaged envelope with some ephemera in it. And then here's a facsimile, just a journaling card that looks like an autograph book. And an image, found image. So that slips in this swinging pocket, I call it. And it's open on both edges. When you turn it over here, an old-fashioned lady standing on a porch, tuck spot, a piece of paper from a German school book, another faux stamp image that I just made a bunch of these because I was so inspired by, and I can't think right now, but I'll try to put it below. But they were making faux stamps, and I thought, oh, I just have to give that a try, even though I did not have all the supplies. But they turned out pretty cute. So, plain paper here. This is a special journaling card with its own matching pocket. It has an image of one of my art textiles, fabric textiles, big journaling card, and it slips down into this matching pocket, which is all 3D and done with fibers. So she'll appreciate that. On this side, a belly band, which houses this little notebook. And I just put found papers, tuck spots, just interesting things to write on, or even little pieces of paper that you can tear out to do whatever you want to with them. So that slides right in there. A little pocket here with the music paper that holds a bundle of just memorabilia special to this person. And I'll just have to show you a couple of these things because they are special. This is a special little greeting that was printed on the inside of a greeting card. And let's imagine that it came from this man or to this man. And here's a page from the first leaflet inset page from an antique book. And another poem by my Aunt Bee, and it's called Lord Help Me Through. Lord Help Me Through. And then here's 2 pages that match because I wanted to get the whole poem. 2 pages of a poem that she wrote with some personal notes to the person that she sent it to. So, and then just an old piece of writing paper, coffee dyed, so that can be used if you want to make notes. And I'll put this stuff all back together and in the right place later. So we'll move on. And there's the other part of that envelope from the florist. Here's a journaling card. And I'll have to put that back later. Okay, on this page, we have a flip out. And this flips open, but it also holds this enhanced paper clip. And the paper clip just has a lot of little 3-dimensional elements on it that she will appreciate. I know she will. So we'll turn it this way to catch the other side of that. And just a little tuck spot with some very old vintage photos. And these are my family photos, which she will appreciate. So I had to use what I had to work with. So that's what I did. Copied off old photographs and distressed them a little bit and made them work. A little tuck spot with a beautiful little card. This is some collage work I had done, and these are 3-dimensional cards. Okay, this folds up back this way, and then we move on to this side. This is a large image of a cross stitch that my sister did, and here's a little snippet of a cross stitch that she did, and I just stained it up, and I left the needle and the thread right in it. So it makes a little flip. And I just pinned it on with a quilt pin. So there you have that. Now this begins the ocean theme pages, because that's a wonderful addition to Summer Treasures. And it might be a little difficult to see here with too much visual stimulation. But these beautiful seashore images I got off of Etsy. I'll put that in later, who that was. And here's a little acetate envelope that I put together with some actual seashells from either Daytona Beach or Jacksonville, where I lived for a while. So there's one pocket here, and then this pocket here, and there's nothing in that one. And then there's a third pocket over here, and this houses this very large card with a piece of a sand dollar on it. And I found that sand dollar at Anastasia Park, just north of St. Augustine, Florida. So I put the commemoration right here, and then it can be journaled on the back. So that slides right in there. And then, well, I can't get to this one. So here's a little fabric textile art that I did to commemorate the ocean. So I put one of those in here too. So we had an empty pocket here somewhere. I guess I could put it in there. All right. So let's unfold it this way. And then this is another pocket. And here's a bead charm that I made to go along with the ocean theme. An octopus on here, some green glass, starfish, and that just hangs right there amongst the seashore themed things. Some wallpaper, tissue paper stained, and then that forms a pocket here. Just a piece of writing paper, and that forms a pocket. And then it houses this card also, which is a flip out card, tuck spot or pocket, folder, all kind of nature things here, and a beautiful poem. Very large card with a lot of little elements on it. You'll like that. The next page I hinged in an envelope that I had made from a beautiful print out of an Ideals book, and it was pansies in a teapot. So I found a print with a teapot on it, and I made it into a writing page, and that just swings open free right there on a hinge. Now these are, this page is some collage work that I did myself. I made a set of 7. I went through all my old ephemera, true ephemera from my family. My mother, God bless her, saved quite a few things, and they came to me, and I've just now had time to go through them, and I found some wonderful things. So a poem from my Aunt B, a letter my Aunt B wrote to my mother when she lived in Daytona Beach, a copy of that autograph little book that I made. And hold on a second, I'm going to bring you down just a little closer. I don't realize what's going on the screen. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, I guess. And these old papers are family collections too. Here's a piece of wild aster that I pressed, and I added my own lace and backgrounds and just scanned it and copied it off. And this little thing is on a flap, has a little imprint or print, excuse me, hiccups, print of a doily here from Roxy Creations, and that makes a little tuck spot. So when you turn this over, just graph paper here, plenty, well actually that's calligraphy paper, and that's plenty of writing space. And I tried to leave some places blank. Can you imagine if I'd put something on every surface? But this forms a pocket, and let's turn it, well let's take the contents out first. And this is, normally this would have been tied up. These are little folder things that I made out of 3 envelopes. And because this thing was so fat, I did not put anything in it. But here's the first envelope, second envelope, third envelope, and each surface is collaged with something, and there's a pocket in it. So here's the pocket in this one, and here's the pocket on this one. And it simply folds up and ties. And that's what fits in this pocket here. So when you turn this over, here's a beautiful image of bee balm. We love our bee balm outdoorsy nature things, so I just left that image. I put in a photo sleeve with some beautiful pictures from Ideals books, and that's that. This sort of has a bee theme here. We live not too far from Medina, Ohio, about an hour's drive, and this person loves honeybees. Her and her father used to have honeybees. And one of the biggest suppliers of honeybee paraphernalia and equipment was AI Root Company out in Medina, Ohio. And this is one of their very old vintage advertisements. And I copied that and distressed it. And some bee paraphernalia here. Did I leave them as tuck spots? I did not, but the picture is a tuck spot. So, and found papers, tuck spot, telegram, found paper, and another beautiful image from that same Etsy seller that did the collage work. And the person buying this, my friend, loves wine. And then here's an envelope of old photographs. So I thought that went nice for her. Another collaged envelope with some old ephemera in it, found paper. This paper is my hand-dyed polymer papers. I have it in like 13 to 15 different colors, and I put some in here for her. Beautiful shades of color. Just a little fabric flip out, and you can write, flip it up, and it's glued on, or yeah, it's glued on. You could easily take it off if you didn't want to. Just an edge flap on that paper. You can see in this view the beautiful graining. That's what I love about making handmade polymer dyed papers, because the pigment in the paint puddles around and gives you the most beautiful designs. So, found papers. Can you believe there's even anything left plain in this, as fat as it is? There you have it. So when you turn this page, there's a little tuck spot here, and I put her a nature thing here. These were lily of the valleys that I had pressed, but I doctored it up as if it was very old. And it's the Latin name and the date, 1958. I think I wrote a 4-H group, Braxton County, West Virginia. So that just gives her something to look at there, go by. I just think those things are charming. This was a beautiful summer print of a mailbox from an Ideals book. So I superimposed these 2 tiny little envelopes on it, and then each envelope is full of itty-bitty little paraphernalia, which I am not going to take out now lest I lose them. And then a butterfly there. Turn this is my collage work tear sheets that I put right there, and I encased one of these for her. This was a necklace that I made. We make giveaways. I did years ago when I held ladies retreats, and this was a necklace that says faithful, and I put it on a beautiful little card. And I had that left over, and I gave her that in this journal. So it'll be a keepsake for her for sure. This is a little fold-out envelope. I'm sure you've seen Many of them, I won't take it out of there, but it unfolds, and it's a writing surface. Another image from Ideal's book in this photo sleeve. And a little text spot with the handmade card, tag, plenty of writing space on that. Writing space here, writing space here on this collage work, and then this unfolds. So when you unfold it, the first thing is you have this instruction from reading music, vintage ephemera right there, and the music is actually printed on, I'm pulling on the wrong side, on tracing paper, and it forms a pocket, and there's a piece of ephemera in there. And then this side is just, I left it plain. Haha, I left something plain. She can mount photographs on there. And this has a nice journaling card in it. I'll put that back later. So here's the next, I believe, yes, this is the next signature cover. It unfolds like this. And then I'll flip it backwards like this. So, and then I've been making these little circular, I call them chipboard charms, but there's two nice ones with a nature theme that can slip right in there in that tuck spot. And then on this, in this tuck spot, some ephemera, old photographs, and things like that. So that tucks right back up there. In this book, I tried to do a lot of, wherever it was needed, what I call repair tape. And it just gives it that old vintage look. And I don't know about you, but I've repaired many a page with a piece of tape. So it adds to the look. Here's a little notebook. It's just a little flip with found pages, all kind of paraphernalia right here. It just slips on the top of the page like that. And then there's a pocket here on this graph paper, or ledger paper with a telegram. Another Ideals print, paper clip. And this forms a side pocket in which there is another little booklet, a catbird, or what you call mockingbird, and a poem, and a pocket. And I left that without pages so that she can do whatever she wants with it. Besides that, this thing is so full. Okay, on this side, a tuck spot with some ephemera. And these are special because this is a print. This has a little tuck spot I glued on it, but it's a print of my vacation Bible school certificate. You always got a certificate when you completed vacation Bible school. So here's another little piece of collage work that I had done myself, and those fit right here in this tuck spot. And then here's another one of the collage pieces that I did, all with three-dimensional elements. This is my Aunt Bee and her husband, probably 1936. That's as close as I could guess to the date that, and it was such a neat picture of them in front of that old car. So I copied it, shrunk it down, distressed it, laid it on the same collage, in the same collage as a copy of one of her poems, and then a vintage tape measure that I had, and it just makes a beautiful collage work. You can write right on top of it, and I can't do anything like those Etsy sellers that know Photoshop, and I just can't do that. They are beautiful, and I've bought many of them and used them, but I wanted this to be a little bit more personal with personal items, so that's how I did it. And just a simple white parchment card there. And this fiber around the edge is real thin mulberry paper, makes a beautiful addition. And downhill brook or waterfall, and I put this on here. I told my friend it's because you have a singing brook or a singing waterfall. And here's another one of the collages that I made myself. And by now they're self-explanatory, so I won't go into that. A large image of a vintage camera, and I copied off some photographs, distressed them. There's the same one with my aunt and her husband in front of that old car. And then this is my mother and one of her best friends from childhood, and each of them have their, I'm sorry, that was her sister-in-law, but we have, they have their first two babies, approximately 1947, 1948. So I copied those off. Now my friend that's buying this can switch all this stuff out to her own personal stuff if she wants to. I'm sure anyone would. Okay, so on this side, now I'm reaching the point I can't see what I'm doing. Let me do it this way. So in this pocket here this was kind of special, so I'll explain this to you. Just some old vintage handwriting here on this side in this little tuck spot. But on this side, a picture of my mother, and then this paraphernalia in here. First of all, it's a copy of vintage styles of handwriting, and I put a little rusty vintage pen nib there. And then this second piece of ephemera is her handwriting diploma. I think 44 it says. So that goes right here with her picture, and the pen nib makes it all very cohesive and very special. So I'll put that back in this pocket. And what do I have here? Oh, just a summer print, flowers, and a garden hat, and backed with that masking paper. This is a hinged envelope in here, collaged envelope with another chipboard charm, and a small image of the same image that I used on the front of this journal, with just a picture from 1940-ish. And then another faux made stamp that I did right there as a tuck spot. And this starts a garden page, so you'll see why I put that on there. On this side, I'll show you, this is just a large photo mount card. Well, you can't even see it. A large photo mount card. The background is like brick, and then a piece of a trellis and some ivy leaves. And on this side, same thing. And it is just a photo mount card that slips in the top there. So I won't put that back. But it matches this. I did this side of the book. Let me get my little support here. I did this side of the page with fabric ivy leaves that I had made for appliques. It looks like a trellis. You've got vines, and down here, sort of camouflaged, is a little tree frog. So there you have him. This was one of my favorite projects of this book. I just so enjoyed doing this, and I'll do more of them. One of the favorite things to do and treasures are books, and summer activity is to read maybe. And so what I did was I made this little, I got a little string there. I made this little page as if it's a library shelf. It even has a little piece of lace hanging off of it, cement stone or a quarried stone background, and these three bookends are three-dimensional. I made them with paper, fabric, inks, glues, all kinds of things. And on this one it says volume 3, 1701 to 1798, because in old times people made their own books and kept their family history in that. And then she has a French lineage, So there's a little French title right there on that black one, and it's embossed with gold on the raised binding. And this one is a book about Emily, and then behind the book is a hidden pocket. And I just put that picture in there with that old car, so that she would remember that there is a pocket back there. Truly a secret pocket. Otherwise, you would never know it. Okay, it forms a pocket on the end as well. So there's a very large collaged tag here. On this side, kind of another French image because she has that French lineage. And then, what is this? Oh, an envelope. So, tucks right in there. So that slips on the end pocket. Sorry, see how fiddly? Oh my. Another one of those faux stamps that I made over here. And then here's a collage piece that unfolds out. I found an old letter that had gotten damaged by the mail, and it has that stamp on it that says your piece of mail has been damaged by our equipment and retaped by us. So it was just too interesting not to use. So that little collage folds up like that, matching trim on the edge. Turn it over. Here's the other side of that collaged envelope. And this has the other part of my mother's grade card from 1944, I believe it said. 41 or 40, I forget. Who can remember? Another special treasure is iced tea. So I put this beautiful image in here. And then it forms a top pocket here. And here's an elaborately collaged envelope. So I forget where I saw this idea, but I just loved it. There are two swinging pockets. Each of these are pockets. Again, I put nothing in them because it's too full already. And then a top-loading pocket. So these are just found papers or my own collage tear sheets or just anything that I have from Etsy sellers. And this is a belly band right down through the middle. And then a piece of old document right there. And I'll put that back in later. Okay, this side is commemorating a garden or herbs. 3 little herb panels there. I made an acetate window so that, hold on a second. This flips down and it's a complete writing surface right on top of this calendar image. Very nice. And then this, okay, I cannot see. I'm going to stand up. Please excuse me because I can't look over all this to remember what I'm showing you. There's an acetate pocket right here. I can put my hand down in there, but if you don't have anything in it, then that beautiful image from the calendar still shows. Found paper, ideals image, and a second one, because she wanted it, of these collaged pocket envelope type things. And I'm going to encourage her to give those away as gifts, to fill them full of special little notes and commemoration, and then give them away. There's a pocket right here, which I have nothing in. Can you believe it? And then, oh, I'm lying. That's not how it works. Beautiful image from an ideals book. And lady slippers. And another piece of one of my collages right here. Graph paper. And then here comes another collage. I think you saw this image on another page. Wild asters that I dried. And then a little collaged pull out, flip out. Plenty of writing space here, tuck spot there. Beautiful image from Ideal's book, and I truly put this in here because she has twin boys, and I just imagine in another era they would have looked just like this fishing at the local lake or pond. Here's a little thing I made using up calendar pages. It has some vintage stickers on it, a tree frog, but it's a folder with pockets and folders and folders. And so every surface has some kind of tuck spot or some hidden place that you could put something. The main thing is this tag that also is a small version of the same image that I used here, so it gives the name of the flower, nasturtiums, and on that card is also a tuck spot, and it just goes on and on. I'll put that back later. All right, and as you turn this page, then here is the back flip out, and because of her love of honeybees, I put the copy of this old vintage piece of art in there. And then here's a picture of a man, a vintage, where he's smoking and harvesting his honey. The date on it, 1952. So that slips right in there. I made these sunflower leaves to super enhance this fact that this is a sunflower in this photograph. And so there's a pocket there, and then there's a pocket back here, which has a piece of ephemera in it, and it is the meaning of telling the bees. And if you've never heard about telling the bees, it's an old European tradition that even came to the United States. And look that up online, and it's quite interesting, telling the bees. Okay, on this side, a little feather that just matches the decor here, and this folds out a tuck spot, writing surface, and folds back in on itself, and another vintage faux stamp. And on the back, nothing. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. Oh my heavens. Now, I don't have these pages folded up all quite right. Give me just a second. And then I'll show you the front cover one more time, and we'll back out and look at it. It's just, it was really a wonderful adventure to make it, but at the same time, when you're stopping every day to create the next new idea, it was a little bit challenging. So I hope you appreciate the uniqueness of it, get some ideas from it, and thank you for watching. Thank you for all my subscribers. I appreciate you so much. See you later.